Welcome to From the Front Lines, Bulletin Brief, Surgeons' Voices. With me today is my friend, Dr. Daniel Herron. Dr. Herron is the Garlock Chief of the Division of General Surgery and the Salky Professor of Surgery at the Mount Sinai School of Medicine in New York. Dan is also the committee chair for our Committee on Video-Based Education at the American College of Surgeons. Welcome, Dan.
Oh, thanks, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here talking with you, if only virtually.
Yeah, I wish it was in person. It'd be a good excuse for me to go visit my sons in New York as well, but not quite yet.
I was thinking I could come down and visit Florida, but either way works.
Hopefully in the not too distant future. We missed each other at SAGES, and although we won't see each other at the college, at least we get to connect by video.
Excellent.
Speaking of the college, you have a Herculean task, even in a standard year, sifting through who knows how many video submissions from people in every single specialty, condensing it into what is always a spectacular, highly interactive program that weaves its way through the entire clinical congress. This year, you're given an extra challenge. Now take that wonderful program that you really, I'm sure, started to create and perhaps even finalize before the end of 2019 and morph it into something that's going to fit for the virtual congress. So could you walk us through a little bit about how the program changed from what we would expect in person to what we're going to see and hear in the virtual congress?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you're absolutely right that it is a Herculean task. That being said, I think it's one of the funnest committees in the American College, in that we are given the responsibility, but also the privilege of looking at every video which is submitted to the clinical congress each year. So we have a large committee, and then there's a smaller executive committee, which is a subpart of the committee. And we look through all these videos to find the ones which are going to be of highest quality and most interest to the people attending the clinical congress. Now, normally, as you know, there are many different sessions, many different specialties represented, and sessions run anywhere from 60 minutes up to 2.5 hours. So we can show 12 or 15 or more videos during a standard clinical congress. Obviously, we had to make a lot of adjustments to these based on the fact that we're going to be completely virtual this year. One of the greatest things I think about the videos at the college is that it gives you an opportunity to really see what other surgeons are doing. You know, not just the operations that they're doing, but how they're putting their stitches and how they're firing their staplers and how they're making their decisions in the middle of an operation. And I think for surgeons who are very hands-on, pragmatic physicians, to see this live in front of you happening on a video screen is a really wonderful and very educational process. So the question was, how can we maintain the same kind of educational process and interactivity that we get from the in-person congress in this virtual congress? And so that was really the biggest challenge that we were dealing with.
And how did you manage to accomplish the goal, which I know, knowing you, that you accomplished it to the best possible way it could be accomplished? How did you do that? How will we be interacting the way we would have had we been walking up to the microphone in the convention center?
Well, we went through a bunch of different iterations, and initially we were thinking that we would directly duplicate the whole process that we use in person in a virtual format. But it became very challenging because we realized that we had to do more planning in advance, and we also had to cut down the time scale of the program. We couldn't have nearly as many different sessions, and we also needed, you can't really have a Zoom session which goes on for 2.5 or 3 hours because people just can't sit in front of a computer for that amount of time. So the first thing we did is to decide how long we were going to make the sessions, and we decided that 1 hour would be about the right amount of time to do an online video session. Then we wanted to make sure that we could maintain the question and answer part of the program, but we wanted to make that in a more limited fashion such that it was manageable within the 10 or 15 minutes that would be left at the end of the 1 hour session. So what we've decided to do is that we're going to, number one, we're going to cut down on the number of videos. Instead of having 10 or 12 or 15 videos shown in these sessions, we're going to cut down to about 5, maybe 6 videos so that they can be condensed into a period of about 45 minutes. And then for the last 15 minutes of the hour, that will be a question and answer and discussion period. People who are watching the videos real time will be able to send in their comments or their questions or their concerns through a chat window. So they'll be able to type in, they won't be able to verbally address the speakers, but they will be able to type in questions and concerns through a chat box. And these will all show up to the moderators of the session as well as the video presenter. And then there will be a discussion at the end amongst the moderators and the video presenter. So we've managed to maintain many of the same concepts in that we can still submit questions, we can still have an interesting discussion at the end. And I'm hoping that it will still be, to some degree, as interactive as it was during the in-person sessions.
One of the problems with the standard live annual clinical congress is that there may be multiple simultaneous overlapping sessions. So I might want to see a particular video, but there's something happening in the other side of the convention center and I can't. The virtual congress might obviate that problem. How long will the materials be available for viewing if somebody does want to see sessions that were broadcast simultaneously?
Well, we're hoping that all of the videos that were submitted will still go into the Congress's library. So in theory, because normally we take every video which is submitted and shown at the college during the clinical congress and put that into the ACS video library. So it's available forever to be reviewed by anyone who has access to the library. And there is a small subscription fee to gain access to that library. For the sessions that we have here, there's going to be a session on, there'll be 2 sessions on Monday. Each one is 1 hour long. There'll be 1 session on Tuesday, and then there will be 2 sessions on Wednesday. So a total of 5 real-time sessions with chat and full interactivity. And then those videos will then all be put into the American College Video Library. So those will be available forever. But as it stands now, it may be the situation that you need access to the video library. I don't know if there are going to be different mechanisms to watch videos from the college if you are attending the college but you're not participating in the video library. That has not been clarified yet.
Well, I suppose given the price of the annual clinical congress, free, that as long as somebody registers, they could still go and look at the material during the continued period of posting of the annual clinical congress on the web without having to go to the library per se, at least, so not necessarily the accepted videos, but at least the videos in those 5 sessions.
Exactly, exactly. You know, the other issue that we had to face was how do we pare down the many different specialties and subspecialties which are represented in the video program. And so that was probably the most difficult challenge, was to come up with the 5 subjects which we felt had the most generalized interest for the people coming to the virtual congress. So we ended up with, for example, challenging and unusual problems in surgery, which is always a big hit at the clinical congress. There's a foregut session, there's a session on hernia, there's a session on colon and rectal surgery, and there's a session on trauma. So those were the 5 that we will be having as part of the online interactive congress. And of course, all the videos which were submitted for the other specialties will be accepted into the video library the same as they would have for a standard congress.
Well, I'm sure the program's going to be absolutely sensational. It's unfortunate it's a bit truncated, but it is good that all the videos will subsequently be available, and it's certainly good that there'll be interactive chat functions. Sounds like the sessions you've picked are indeed very interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Any other parting remarks you'd like to make, Dan?
Well, you know, in some ways I'm pleased because the video presentations translate very nicely to the small screen or to remote learning. And I'm hoping that that the presenters will be very happy with the way that the videos come across, and that there is still some degree of interactivity that's maintained in the process. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great group of videos that we're showing. Because we have had to cut down the total length of the sessions, I think we've distilled out the best of the best. So I think you're going to see the real cream of the crop in terms of the videos that we're showing. And I'm hoping that we're going to get a great turnout, because I think it's going to be a very entertaining and educational series of sessions. So I hope to see you there, Steve, and as well as anyone else who's listening to us today.
Definitely. Looking forward to it. Dan, thanks so much for your time today, and thanks for all you do for the ACS.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for talking with me today.